Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Dominant Dealer Podcast presented by Drivably. We're going to dissect, divulge, and define the tips and tricks it takes to be a dominant player in your market. For our first episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Sean Welsh. If you don't follow his content on LinkedIn, you definitely should. He's got over 20 years of working in the space, from working in a car dealership himself to now today consulting with dealers how to better maximize their marketing spend. We covered a variety of topics, all things over the place, where the car industry is going, where it's come from, and more importantly, what are some of the things that our dealership listeners can do today to improve. So I think you'll find this episode not only informational, but also entertaining. So we had a great time. I hope you have a great time listening to it and enjoy this first episode of the Dominant Dealer Podcast. Note, being here, Sean, awesome that you're grabbing a few minutes with us. We're gonna get into a handful of topics today, but dude, I would love to get for the people who are hearing you the first time, get the 3-minute story on your business and how you try to serve your customers every day.
Well, thanks for having me on, Andrew, in the beginning. I appreciate that. So what do we do? The 30 second, the 30,000 foot view. Basically the whole goal of CarBiz, the reason we created it, which was it was asked to, an owner of a large group here in Wisconsin asked us to start it. I went to have dinner with him to talk to him about buying a point, because that's what I was getting ready to do. I was getting ready to realize a life's dream, buy a point, have it, Welsh Motors, here it comes. This is what we're going to do. And I was just telling the story to someone the other day that I sat down with that owner the night before and gave him my pitch, right? So my pitch is, this was 2013 when I made this pitch. Keep that in mind. I wanted every salesman to have an iPad or a tablet, whatever you want to call it. I wanted a Wi-Fi in every corner of the dealership, all the way out to the very furthest points of the lot, because I wanted there to be no excuse to log in customers. I wanted a mobile-based CRM. I wanted to do all these things that I thought were important. Single point of contact. You come to my store, you meet me, I sell you your car. I also help you with finance, and I'll set you up with your first service appointment, introduce you to your service rep moving forward. I wanted it to be a continuous cycle where you as a customer knew 2, maybe 3 people at the dealership, and those were your guys, your people. And my goal was to have transactions completed in less than 1 hour. And if I would not do that for you, your first year oil changes were on me personally. I wrote a check every time you came in. I had this whole big grand plan. So I give it to the owner the night before, because that's who I'm buying in with, I'm partnering with. The next night I go out to talk with my friend, Tom Zimbrick, and I says to him, hey, here's the story, here's where I'm at. And he looks me dead in the eyes. He's like, I wouldn't do that. And I thought to myself, why wouldn't you do that?
So you're like heartbroken almost.
Dude, not even the word, dude. Just ruined me. It was a life's dream. And he didn't know that. And
yeah,
it's part of our discussion, but he was just a realist, and he's like, look, this was 2013. He's like, Sean, we're already seeing compression, dude. If you got 1, you got 0. He's like, so you got to get 3. I'm like, well, then I'll buy 3. I don't, that's fine. I'll do that. He's like, you got plenty of money. You ain't got that much money. Okay. So what do I do? He's like, why don't you do this? Why don't you just help educate people on digital marketing? Because everyone's trying to sell it to them. No one's educating them. And the people who are educating them are the same people selling it to them. So how is it that they can really understand it? And he says, frankly, I got 17 stores, and I couldn't tell you what's going on with marketing budgets for digital at these stores. And I don't think my GMs could, blah, blah, blah. And my BDC is broken. Can you help me with that? And so I was like, well, what do you offer me? He says, I'm going to give you 3 stores, $3,000 for 90 days. That's it. I'm like, well, do you want me to quit my corporate job? It's a 6-figure consulting job. It's breezy shit. I ain't got to work to be good at this job. He says, I don't care what you got to do. I gave you an offer. You tell me what you're going to do with my offer. All right. So went home, talked to mama, talked to my business partner who I was going to buy the stores with. I've known since I was 13 years old. And I said, hey, look, here's what I'm thinking. They're like, yeah, cool, but we're going to be buying the store. So let's see what happens with that first. Turns out about an hour later, the owner of that store calls me and he says, Sean, the plan you sent me, is that your real plan? Is that what you really plan to do with the store? I was like, yeah, dude, what would I have sent you? Like a false plan, like an idea of something different? He's like, there is no way I will let you do that to my store. And I said, do what to your store? He said iPads, no negotiations, lack communication, no sales desk. He's like, have you even ever penciled a car deal? To which I took great offense because I've been in the car business my whole fucking life. And I said, yeah, but the pencil's broken. The ink on the paper's broken. Y'all don't do this right. Is if I can make more gross by never leaving the desk, if I communicate directly with the people who are responsible for the decision. He thought we were insane, dude. He's like, there's no way I'm partnering with you. There's no way I'm doing this deal.
So not only did they break your heart, they shot your dog too.
This guy shot my dog. The other guy broke my heart. And I'm sitting here going, well, what the fuck? I'll just keep my corporate job because no one notices I'm here. I make 6 figures with my feet up. I got to travel a little bit, but that's it. You know, yeah. I don't like corporations. Corporations don't like me. I don't like meetings. I don't like anything that goes on in corporations. But the healthcare was decent, and the 6 figures was nice, and no one bothered me. Yeah. So I was a satellite employee, right? But that wasn't enough, dude. It wasn't enough.
You know, controlling the future is we could probably talk about that at length, but I'd really like to know more about, staying ahead of the curve. I mean, if you're sitting down with Andrew right now, running a dealership, I mean, what is really staying ahead of the curve look like right now? And not exclusive to, your domain in the marketing field, but just all encompassing for, the dealer on the street today. What does that really mean, being ahead of the curve right now?
Man, I can be honest with you, it's adopting shit I was talking about in 2013. It's about utilizing video. It's about allowing your salespeople to be on social media. It's about trying to limit the number of contacts and time a customer wastes in your dealerships. Mm-hmm. Okay? There's this whole big push. If you've heard my content, you know where I stand on this. This digital retail thing is a bunch of bullshit, period. I've been delivering cars to customers' homes since 2004. That is not impressive to me. I have sent paperwork across the country via DHL. This is not impressive to me.
RIP okay? DHL, sorry.
Okay? What is impressive to me is people who adopt the mindset that they'll do whatever it takes to sell a customer a car. Recently, I was up in Canada, in Toronto, speaking at an event up there. And I asked the whole room of dealers that were in the room, folks, how many of you are willing to negotiate a car deal over the phone? Andrew, how many people do you think raised their hand in a room of 30 people?
Probably not nearly as many as they should.
0.
That seems ridiculous.
Next question out of somebody's mouth was, what do I think of digital retail? To which I went nuts. I'm going to be releasing my game changer thing that I did here sooner or later. I'll be getting the content out there where I was just like, then what? You guys don't want to negotiate a car deal over the phone. Yeah. You're really going to let a customer go through the journey by himself online? Give me a break. It's a buzzword. It's more. No consumers ever asked for this. You know what consumers ask for? A quicker, cleaner process that does not waste their time. All of them still want to go to stores, dude. Every single one person I talk to. Matter of fact, I just sold my 15th car this year. I refer friends and family to all my clients across the country. If I hear you're trying to buy a car and I got a deal within 2 states, I'm going to call them and I'm going to make them ship you the car for the best deal you can find.
What do you think the role of a full digital retail experience is actually going to play in the market long term? I mean, if naturally there's other technologies that continue to advance, continue to get better to where the nuts and bolts of being able to do that is going to continue to get easier and easier. I think we know that pretty well. On the other side, whether or not consumers are going to do that as a mass exodus is to be determined. Where do you think the balance of that really is going to lie if you want to throw a stake out there and make some predictions?
Here's what I would say. I would say digital retail in its current form is going to migrate into more of the percentage of people being involved in it. It's not going to change much from what it looks like now. Mm-hmm. It's really not. I mean, are the documents, could you inlay video, some of this other shit they're talking about? Sure. But at the end of the day, it's going to be digital retail as you see it today, which is basically contract online, negotiate online, pick up car in store. Yep. But even stores that do digital retail, big air quotes here, even those people, you know how many of them up the in-store process and the whole deal falls apart anyways?
Probably a lot.
Yeah, more than any of these people will ever admit to you, ever in their lives, because they still don't get it, because they're like, cool, dude, here's what we'll do, right? We're going to let this guy negotiate online, and when he gets to the store, we're going to pound him one more time.
Yeah. Sean, we've probably talked, I don't know, 3 or 4 times now, and I take you as a like we could get in semantics here, but like the difference between beliefs and opinions,
Sure.
right? Like, beliefs, it doesn't matter what facts somebody puts in front of you, it's not going to change, right? I feel like most of what you just talked about are their opinions that if the data changes and the outcomes changes, like you'll be the first one to raise your hand and say, hey, this makes sense, or this is the right way to go. And I feel like most of your passion related to this subject is because you feel like the dealers are cannibalizing what already is working, and or maybe not working as well as they like, but they actually should fix on another problem versus the guise of this symptom that presents itself. Is that a fair generalization?
It's very fair. And here's why it's very fair. I'll give you an example on the front half. The front half example is 2 years ago, if you told me you were going to spend money on paid social media, I would tell you you're an idiot. Today, if you tell me you don't spend money on social media paid, I tell you you're an idiot because I've watched the data. I can be I'm a data nerd, dude. I'm a data nerd. I'm a baseball nerd and a data nerd. Currently, I'm reading a book about both. And it's really opening my eyes to what happens when people like me, who I refer to myself as a nonconformist, something I've learned about myself very recently. I didn't really know who I was. I thought I was just a loudmouth leading up to this. It turns out there's some value to the way I approach things. Mm-hmm. And so I changed my mind on social media. Boom, I'm all about it. Let's go. So absolutely, data can fuel my change decision all day long. My biggest issue with this is that God, I keep changing this number. I keep going higher because more people I talk to. Let's just say 90% of car dealers, dude, do not have a lead gen problem. They have a selling problem.
Yep.
They do not understand how to sell the number of opportunities that they have currently coming through their doors. They don't know how to equity mine. They don't know how to work their service drives. They don't know how to work their repeat referral business. That's how I was raised in Chicago car business in 1998. Okay, there was no CRM. There was no internet. I mean, I got the first lead from Auto Trader via fax in 1999 for myself. Okay, so these are things that the industry has grown, yes, but we've grown alongside technology. We've grown alongside lead gen. I'm 38 years old, right? So I grew up alongside. No, I'm not a millennial. I don't care what anyone's numbers say, and here's why. I'm not a millennial because I used a pager. I'm not a millennial because I actually used a typewriter to write a school paper, okay? But we grew up along technology. We saw what it did to the universe. We watched how it changed interaction. The car business, I've been fortunate to watch the same thing happen. I've been able to see how it's gone. Reality now is we're so bad on the phones, but click-to-call has gone up 5x in the last 24 months.
Oh, yeah.
Yet every day I see someone talking about phone training, or phone training, I want to puke. Because we're all these calls, we still don't know what we're doing, yet you guys want to sign up for more digital retail and more tools to get you more leads. You can't even handle the ones you got. So it comes from me. It comes from, I have a saying. I say, save your feelings for your therapist and give me the facts. Because that's what I'm after. Not that I won't factor your feelings, but I don't really care. Dealer tells me, Sean, I feel like I'm not getting enough for my value. How does one quantify a feeling? Right?
Yeah.
I got to be quantifiable. I want to look at it. It can't be an idea. It's got to be a fact. So that's how I approach it, man. I'm open to being changed mind of anyone. And you would probably imagine there's a lot of people on a daily basis that will email me, text me, or call me to get me to change my mind on a certain topic. And it's just without facts, it's tough for me to do.
You said a few things there related to, a selling problem. And one of the things so I've been in, software sales pretty much my entire career, slinging stuff myself, carrying a bag, and the last few years, leading teams and organizations. And I think even with I'm 36, right? So we're close kind of how our upbringing was, how technology played a role in us growing up. And even I can remember, in college, right? For me, I took online classes weren't available till the last semester I was in college. And I remember talking to my parents about this. They're like, we're paying all this money so you can take an online class. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And even now with it, interviewing, salespeople or working with salespeople that are my age or younger, 4 or 5, 10 years younger than us, there seems to be a huge noticeable difference in communication style, or the ability to even just the way we're talking right now, digest something you said, ask a relevant question, and it could be an iterative process. Like I know that those things impact me and my peers in trying to sell, high ticket price items that aren't for personal use. They're for business. They're supposed to produce ROI. It's a complex sales cycle, et cetera. How much of things like that do you think are translating into the selling of cars, right? Do you think the breakdown is happening there where like, hey, young new sales guy, like he just doesn't know how to interact with either different demographics or people who haven't had the same exposure to technology as him?
Well, I think it's twofold, right? I think it's training aspect. I think dealers still have a terrible habit, Andrew, of hiring you and then hoping you understand because you sold cell phones what that means to sell a car. And I hear it all the time. I mean, I just did an interview that I'll be releasing as a part of my educational format here coming up called the Car Biz Chronicles, our second season. A guy named James Baining, who if you're on LinkedIn, you've seen him. He's a big time guy on there. And
Yeah.
James and I were talking and I said, tell me about your first month of sales. And he said, I almost quit because I didn't sell any cars and no one showed me how to. That was back in the late 80s, early 90s. And when I got to my dealership, same thing. It was, hey, you know how to talk and sell, so get out there and do it. And so we don't train. Young people need training. They need, do they need pats on the back? Sure, then give it to them. You know what I mean? You got to be able to understand who works for you. And what you're trying to get out of them. So that to me is important. I think it's also though, so you can, our younger people are a little tough to communicate with, like this, like human beings. Sure. But they'll hop on this bad boy and they'll text their lives away. They'll have entire communications where they never look up from their phones. And so, but then, when they go to sell a customer a car and they want to text the customer, we're saying, no, call the customer, get him in the store. Well, he'd rather text because that's what he does.
Yeah.
When you're talking to someone younger than you and they text you and you immediately hit dial and they pick the phone up like you just surprised the shit out of them.
Yeah, why are you calling?
Just like,
I just texted you.
Yeah, they're just like, my phone does what now? What are we doing, right? I am always going to be a vocal guy. If someone sends me a 4-page text, you can assume within seconds of getting that 4-page text, I'm about to call you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to text you. I just started texting like 3 years ago. Okay. I hate technology texting. If I could have a flip phone, StarTech from Motorola still, I would. That's me. Because I just I don't need the bothersome. This thing controls my life. Everything that I do in my life runs through this thing. If you ever hear Sean Welsh gets divorced, this is why. It's the only reason why. I don't have a money problem. I don't have kids. Those are the 2 reasons people get divorced. You can add cell phones as a third because that shit's real.
No, you bet. So I'm going to ask probably an impossible question for you to answer because you have, in your corporate consulting days, your business now, selling cars yourself. And I'm going to use a word you love.
Here it comes.
Who is the most dominant dealer you've ever worked with?
All right, let's go back to this. What's your definition of dominant? What makes them dominant?
Yeah.
Because they sell more cars than the next guy or what?
I'll give some context to it.
Yeah.
So I think one is like their operation is performing at a financial level. I think that has to be a go-to. I think number 2 is they have to train and grow their people in an amazing way.
Okay.
Play the long game. And I think also be willing to, make decisions quickly, commit to them. But then when they get confronted with the facts, pivot. So I think some collection of those things.
I'm gonna give you 2 answers. My first answer is, dude, all my clients, because that's what it takes to do business with us. All right, that's how we operate. Yes. We don't allow you to have some other thing. Now, can they be dominant? They might be coming to me because they are losing some money. So that might not fit into your definition of dominant, but within 90 days, 6 months, a year, they are dominant because we follow a specific set of guidelines. I don't care how big your group is. I still believe in a core set of values. But to give you the most honest answer, I would tell you the Zimbrick Automotive Group, Madison, Wisconsin, which is why we were here, founded by me, but an idea of Tom Zimbrick. That sort of information, right? The way that we looked at that, this dude has, I was just in his building today, a training facility, right? Trainers will come in and do training on site, new hire training, 6 months into hire, 2 years into hire. I mean, these dudes do it, right? They have profit sharing for their employees. They got mechanics that have been with them 30 years going to retire millionaires.
It's awesome.
That is what life is about for me, taking care of people. The old group I used to work for, we parted ways. It was a disgusting divorce. We really, the owner's son and I kind of just almost came to blows. We really disliked each other.
Yep.
Fast forward 2019, here we are. We just signed a deal to work together. He brought me back in his organization because he's grown up. I've grown up. We've all put all the aside. That organization is utilizing things that I was talking about. The reasons why I left, they wanted to make sure they never lost another Sean again. And so for 10 years, they've been following a specific set of principles so they didn't. That's dominant, man. People who are willing to listen and see it, that's dominant. So the short answer is all the clients, but the long answer is there are a few that stand out as people that I have personal connections with that I've watched them do what they do.
Awesome. Well, good news for you and for it was Zimbrick Automotive. Am I saying that right? Zimbrick. Yep. They're going to get 3 months free of our services for you calling them out. So
okay,
that's awesome.
We're going to have to pick a store and see which one that's at. We have a lot of them.
Yeah, it'll be great, dude. That's awesome.
Nah.
And on that one, I want you to give me an elbow slap. That's what we do here. Wrap it up.
Dude, I'm not surprising with the whole domination thing. I'm not surprised I'm banging my elbow for you, but you asked me to do it, I'm going to do it for you.
We just did our first realistic Drivably podcast. So no domination over here, just realistic elbow slaps.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
That's what it will be.
All right, Sean, enjoy the rest of your day, buddy. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.